Hey everybody, got another channel update vlog for you today. It is Saturday. Well, this is actually being recorded on Thursday, but when you see it, it'll be Saturday. Saturday's sort of my wildcard video day. With the way my schedule works right now, I don't have anything specific on Saturdays, so that's when I put up this sort of video. I have a bunch of topics I want to cover today, so this might be a little bit lengthier than these usually are. The first of which is actually related to the day that you're seeing this. So I've talked about it a few times. I've been recording more videos ahead of time and kind of following a tighter schedule with them. I have now made that schedule public. You wouldn't have had too much trouble guessing what it was if you were paying attention to when videos were uploaded. But I've been able to stick to it for long enough now that I'm okay with sharing it and feeling like I'm not just going to fail at sticking to it immediately after. So on my YouTube About page, I have added a frequently asked questions section and also the current upload schedule, which right now, in case it changes by the time you're watching this, right now it's Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Don't Starve Together, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, The Second Sky, and Saturday is a wild card. So I put up a drawed video on Saturday a little while ago just because I had nothing else to fill that slot. Some days I might just take the day off and not do a video. Some days I might do one of these. Might do a playtest, might do a single episode LP, or just something else random. I have a lot of things I want to do, and just finding the time and the right state of mind to record them is the trick. So speaking of time, I've made a bit of a change in my life recently, or I've committed to making a change soon. About a week ago, I put in notice at my job that I would be leaving the company, and I'm kind of in the wrap-up phase of that. So I like the company. I like who I worked with. I want to make sure I leave on a good note. So I'm not just saying, okay, I'm done, bye. I'm sticking with them for about a month after I've said I'm ready to leave, and just wrapping up projects there. So this job that I have, I don't know how much I've really talked about it. It is with an orthodontics company, or more specifically, an orthodontic practice management software company based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So I've been working remotely for them for about 3 years now. And it's been good for the most part, but I sort of got to thinking that this led to my decision to leave that job. That's 3 years of my life that I spent on a field of programming that's really not at all in line with what I want to be doing with my life. I am a game programmer. That's who I am. It's what I want to be doing. Orthodontics are not games. They're very different, and It was good for the time, but I was ready to move on. So that's what I've decided to do. So my plan is to sort of take some time after my end date and just relax, be unemployed for a little while. I have enough of a monetary buffer in the bank right now to get by for a little while before I have to worry too much about finding work. What I'd like to do, well, I've already told you guys what I want to do long term. That's not going to happen in the short term, but what I'd like to do in the short term, just to keep food on the table, is to try to actually be a true freelancer. The last several jobs that I've had have sort of turned, last two jobs that I've had have turned from what was supposed to be a short-term contract into a long-term actual job. And that's not quite what I wanted in either case. It worked out okay in both cases, but I want to try doing, I want to see if I can actually find some real contract work in the video game field and just take some short-term work to get a little bit of money and then go back to working on my own stuff. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll end up in another real job sometime. Maybe not. In any case, I want to try. I want to see what happens. And I'm fortunate enough to be in a life situation where I don't, strictly speaking, I don't need the stability of a stable job. I can't get by forever with no money or anything, but I don't have too many financial commitments or anything tying me down to something like that. So I want to take advantage of that and try a little harder to do what I want to do. Anyway, that's enough rambling about my life. So that's been a thing that's on my mind. So switching topics. I spent a weekend a little while ago trying to write a new game. I showed you guys a little bit of the progress there. It didn't go as quickly as I was hoping it would, and I've been chipping away at it slowly. I've set aside this weekend, when this video goes up, I should be working on it then, to sort of do another focused burst of work on that game to try to get it done. What I've been doing in the meantime, which is pretty much done now, is I've actually been updating one of my older games with just sort of upgrading its, doing minor maintenance tasks on it. So the way I write video games is I have a shared framework that I've been working on for a long time that sort of contains a lot of game code things that are shared between all the games that I make. This framework is constantly being updated. The framework's called STEM. It's open source, but it's not really set up in a way that makes it possible for anybody else to use it right now. That's something I'm still working on, but works great for me. I use this framework to build the last several games that I've done, and I've been constantly upgrading it each game that I write with it. And one of the games that I wrote here, I'll put it on screen now. This is called Convergence. This was written in late 2011, so a little over 3 years. Yeah, a little over 3 years ago. This was part of a 3-month contest called UDEV Games. I've talked about it in the past. This was also the contest that Water Tower is written in. And it was one of the earlier things I'd written with STEM, and there various things changed with operating systems and compatibility. It needed an update, and that took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, but it's done now. So I have a new version of this game coming out quite soon. By the time this video goes up, I'll have links in the description for where you can get it. I'm very proud of this game. I think it's one of the most interesting and fun things that I've written so far. Did not spend very much of the 3 months on the splash screen, as you can tell, or main menu, whatever it is. I always call this a splash screen. Technically, it's not. Oh man, I have some weird text artifacts going on here. I should fix that someday. Anyway, so what I did spend a lot of time on in this game was gamepad support. This was the first thing I did that really had dedicated gamepad support, and that's something that's very important to me now. But that took a lot more time than I meant for it to. So this is the control configuration screen. It's pretty complicated. I have an NES pad replica plugged in right now, and it's kind of a wonky controller. Gamepads are a messy business. So this is all the buttons I can press on the thing. Steering left or right triggers all those things. Basically just dumping out the data that I get from the driver here. And if I want to set up my controls, I click the action, then I press something on the gamepad to see which way it goes, and click the thing to bind it to it. So if I press left now, that highlights to show me it's bound to it. So this was way too complicated. I would do this very differently these days, but this was my first attempt at it. So let's just get this gamepad set up for that. Okay, now we're ready to play. I know this has been a lot of preamble, but we're pretty much ready to go. Instructions. I'm talking about the keyboard bindings here. So what this game is it's sort of a how would you describe it? It's kind of a dungeon brawler sort of thing with 5 different character classes you can play. I'll show them all off a little bit. I will play primarily as the speedster because it's a very fun one to do. And I won't show the whole game, so I won't spoil it. Give you guys a chance to play it. It's pretty short. If you know what you're doing, you can play through it in about 5 minutes. But let's give it a shot. So my primary attack is a dash. If I dash into an enemy, it does some damage to them. Those apples on the ground are health refills. So those guys will come up on me and attack me. This was the first game I did that really had any combat in it, and it was pretty fascinating to figure out how to do enemy AI and things like that. Speakers are too loud. Okay, so that's a little quieter. So that's a key that I just picked up. I need those to get through the doors over here. Anyway, I was really happy with how this game turned out. So right here we have the first boss enemy. So he shoots a few times, and then does that. And he's only vulnerable when he's charging up his attack. So you don't want to be hit by that. So wait, then dash in, and we got him. Nice thing about speedster is you can just use your attack to move faster. So we got one half of the key needed to get in there. The half's over here. There are 3 floors total. First and second floors are about the same size. The third floor is a little bit smaller. So again, pretty short game, but I'm happy with what I was able to do with it in the time that I spent on it. So those 2 keys let me in here. This is we've been fighting the orange enemies. This one's red. It's sort of an upgraded version of those. There's 3 tiers of each enemy type. And that's the second tier of the ranged one. So it shoots 4 times, takes a lot more hits, is a little faster. So we got the key we need. Go back here. That thing that I just picked up levels me up, so I move a little faster now, I can dash further, and I'll do more damage. So if you pay attention to the numbers, I'm doing 4 damage now. I think I was doing 2 before, or was it 3? Yep. And that stairway takes me down to level 2. So I'm not going to go too much further here. I'll let you guys play on your own if you want to see the rest of the game, but I'm pretty happy with it. I'll show off some of the other classes too, just to show you the differences in playstyle. So the Berserker has a sword swing attack like these guys, and that's pretty much it. He's pretty simple, but it's a lot of fun to play. Usually he's usually my default choice if I just want to play the game, because it's simple and fun. The Ranger has a ranged attack. And this one actually has a secondary action, so there's an A button and a B button. For the Speedster and the Berserker, it doesn't do anything, but for the Ranger, it locks the direction that you're facing, so you can face this way and move however you want without changing the way you're facing. So if you want to shoot in one direction, you want to face that direction, press B, and then you'll stay like that. Because otherwise, if you want to back up, you can't shoot behind you. And it's intentionally just a little bit hard to use like that. I think it adds an interesting dynamic to the playstyle of this character. So like right here, you kind of have a weird diagonal situation, so that's where you don't want to lock. But a lot of the other places you can just get away with not really bothering with it. The Spy is a stealth class, so it has an attack kind of like the Berserker. Sort of shorter knife sort of thing. The B button stealths me, so those things can't see me as well. One of the things I wanted to do that I never got around to was to show their field of vision when you're stealthed as the Spy, but I never quite got to it. So stealth attack does a lot more damage than a normal one. But you can I can just run in. If you look closely, there's these sort of 4 red lines around my character that shows me I can't stealth right now because I'm being watched. But if I sneak over here... Oh, he saw me. He's going back to his patrol. Oops. Okay, apparently I'm not very good at playing this class. Anyway, and lastly, the Duelist has a slightly slower, weaker attack than the Berserker, but I have a shield. And if I block an attack, my next attack gets a buff. So you kind of want to block, then attack, then block and attack with the Duelist. So you can avoid damage pretty well with this class. Anyway, that's a quick look at it's a fairly lengthy, in-depth look at Convergence. So yeah, download links are in the description. Give it a try yourself. It's one of the games that I've written that I'm more happy with than any of the others. Anyway, yeah, I realized that I hadn't really talked about it on my channel because this was written right before I started doing YouTube stuff as a hobby. But yeah, I wanted to show that off so you guys can see it and give it a try if you want to. I think that's all the stuff I had to talk about. I feel like there was another thing, but I guess not. Yeah, that was all. So that's what's going on in my life. That's one of my other games that I haven't shown off here. Maybe I'll do some spotlights on some of the others that I've written, get them updated and make them playable on modern computers. Yeah, I want to do that. So hopefully you'll see more of these in the future. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. So see you guys.